All right, y'all. This is BC Dupree, withoutyourhead.com, and let's go find this motherfucker before he finds us. School is out, McCullough.
All right, we're back, and we welcome Larry Zerner to Without Your Head. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Cool. So how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Everybody knows, I think everyone knows that you're Shelley from Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Does everyone know that? Because sometimes I think nobody knows that.
Do you ever get recognized
on
at
the computer? It will say Shelley from Friday the 13th, so people who click on this interview will know why they're. They won't randomly click and go, "Why am I hearing this guy?" Who is he?
What do you say now, John?
I was just wondering, does anybody notice you at the supermarket or anything like that? They go, "Hey, it's Shelley."
You know, it really, in the past 10 years, I would say almost never, unless I'm at I'm at a convention or something where obviously people are, they expect to see me there. They're
right.
big horror fans. But I went to go see this musical production of Jesus Christ Superstar last month. And it was a big deal. They had the stars from the movie there, and it was an all-star thing. And we were sitting, and literally Harrison Ford was sitting in front of me, in the seat in front of me, and Gina Davis was sitting in the seat behind me. Right, so it's an all-star thing, right? It was full of stars, right? And I'm just there because it's a charity thing, and I like the show anyway. And after the show, we go to the party, and one of the dancers in the show, he comes up to me and goes, "I love Friday Part 3. He goes, "I saw you from the stage." I said, "Really? You know, Harrison Ford and Gina Davis are there." He goes, "I saw Harrison Ford, not Gina Davis." No, didn't see her. But that was the one time in 10 years that someone has gone up to me, in a non-horror place and said, "You're Shelley."
Any clients, since you're a lawyer now? Anybody ever recognize you from the movie?
Well, I actually I get clients, some way. I've had clients who know I'm a lawyer and they're they need a lawyer and they don't know a lawyer and they just know I'm a copy, but they hear, "Oh, that guy Shelley's a copyright lawyer," so they call me, and I've had some great clients that way. And one of my clients is Dan Farrens, who wrote Halloween 6 and the upcoming Girls Next Door, and he wrote the Tooth Fairy that just came out. Anyway, and he called me on a copyright case. And we were just talking, and then at the end of the conversation, he goes, "Were you in Friday the 13th?" I mean, he's a big fanboy, and he recognized my voice.
Everybody know you can check out ZernerLaw.com.
Yeah. If anybody listening has legal needs in the copyright and trademark area, please give me a call.
Right. So I guess we won't be allowed to sell a Shelley T-shirt.
Well, you could sell a Shelley T-shirt. I don't think anybody would buy it. It's really the issue.
I think John has a question.
Set up with Paramount more than me.
Right. I think John has a question about the Paramount legality.
Oh, yeah. I was just wondering do you know, the legality between why Paramount can, they still release the Friday the 13th movies, but New Line owns the Jason character?
My understanding is that Paramount sold to New Line the right to make future Friday the 13th sequels. Mm-hmm. Paramount owns the movies they made, and therefore they put out the box set after the New Line sale, but the box set only included 1 through 8, the movies that Paramount put out. But I think that New Line does own the name Friday the 13th now for future events, but they don't use it. And I don't know if that was an understanding or not, whether the reason, since, now Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy vs. Jason X, that they just don't want to use the Friday the 13th, or they can't use the Friday the 13th. I don't know. I haven't got an answer to that. But I know Paramount does own, they own the movies that they made.
Were you happy with the box set?
I'm happy they did a box set. I mean, could they have done more? They could have done more. And they were, I know the people who were doing the extras they were putting together that extra video that went on, and I thought that they could have. I thought it would have been better for the fans if they had tried harder to get some commentaries.
Yeah.
I think that extra disc is fine, but I think everybody would have liked the commentaries they had, and the only reason we got to do the commentary for Part 3 is that I knew, I'm Pete Brackey's attorney. Pete Brackey wrote Crystal Lake Memories, the Friday the 13th book. So the people doing the DVD were consulting with Pete, and I said, Pete, we got to do a commentary. Let's. And so we called the people doing the DVD and said, hey, can we do a commentary? And they said, sure. So I call up Brooker, and I called Dana, and I called Paul, and said, hey, we can do a commentary if you get together. There's no money, but this is your chance. And everybody's like, okay, let's do it. So we got together and did it, and the day, but that was whatever. Then Paramount said, okay, that's it. We need everything locked for legal purposes. I mean, this was back in March. The movie wasn't coming out. The set wasn't coming out, I think, until September, October. But they wouldn't let anybody do any more. But after that, I heard that, we talked to Adrienne King, and she said, oh, I would have done a commentary, and I'm sure that they could have asked the other cast. Actors are such, egomaniacs, especially horror actors who don't act anymore. I mean, there's really no better career killer than being in a Friday the 13th movie. But, other than Kevin Bacon. But, so everyone, I think, if they had asked, would have done one. I mean, they ended up doing, they had, Tom McLaughlin did a great one on Part 6, and Kane, and John Beekler did one on 7, and Director on 8. But I think if they had asked the cast, everyone would have done it. I had no question. So I would have liked to hear the other cast doing the commentary. But I was glad I got to do the commentary.
As a DVD fan, I'm always a big fan of all the commentary tracks on the DVD. I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't one on each movie.
Yeah.
You got a question, John?
Just to start out, how did you get the part for Friday 13 Part 3?
Well, this, the story I think has become legendary. I was, I was 18 years old, and you see me in the movie, that's exactly what I look like. I was fat and had that afro and big geek, and I had this job handing out, movie passes. Here in L.A. we have screenings so people can judge, early movie reviews so the public can see it. And it was a screening of Road Warrior, and I was out in Westwood handing out tickets and just standing there, and two people approached me and they said, hey, are you an actor? And I was an actor. I mean, I was a theater major in college, and I was acting all through high school, and I was trying to be a professional actor. And they said, are you an actor? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, we wrote a movie, and we think you'd be perfect. And it was Marty Katrosser and Carol Watson who wrote the movie, and they saw me and they went, that's Shelley, and so I gave him my name. I gave my agent's number, and a couple days later, I got a call, and they said, "Come on down." And I auditioned, and they didn't give me the part, but they got me. It got me the audition, and it just happened. I mean, if you read when I read the script, it was like if my best friend had said, written a part for me, because it was just so described, fat, afro, geek, it was just practical joker. It was, it was me. I mean, it was, so.
When did you lose the afro?
So it was sort of, there was in Hollywood you can be the beautiful girl in the tight sweater in Schwab's, and you can be the fat geek, and either way you get the part in the movie.
Right. When did you lose the afro?
I slept with everyone.
Oh man.
That helps.
Oh, we gotta get the dirt on this.
Yeah.
When did you lose the afro?
When did I lose it?
Yeah.
If I could probably still grow it a little bit, but
just not in style anymore.
I think after college, when I lost the weight, I sort of just started brushing my hair back again. But I used to have like pick my hair out. I'd blow it and pick it. I had like in my in junior high school, which was about half black and half white. I had the biggest afro in the school. I mean, that was saying something.
Were you a fan of the series?
70s. I mean, I had a big fro.
Right. Were you a fan of the series before you got the role?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd seen, the first one. I don't think I'd seen the second one. Second one probably just come out. But it wasn't really, it wasn't like, it was just a movie for the first one. It wasn't a big, it did okay. It wasn't like this huge phenomenon at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was more a Romero fan.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
But I was happy, I was happy to be in the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a question, John?
Adam Green, the director of Hatchet, he has a question. He wants to know, why did the kids take Shelley along when nobody liked him in the first place?
I reject that question. I don't think they didn't like it. Look, in the movie, it's set up that Shelley is the roommate of Jeffrey Rogers' character.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name. But he says, "You're my roommate, and I like you." He says, "I like you." So I don't know why Adam thinks so. So I'm the roommate of Jeffrey Rogers' character, and Jeff is dating Debbie, and Debbie is best friends with Chris, and then Vera is just the blind date. And where the stoners, where Chuck and Chili came from, that's really not described. Like, how did these two guys get in? Because they're like older and they're in a different place,
Well, speaking of do you think if it wasn't like for Jason like killing you guys, do you think Shelley would have eventually scored with Farrah?
Yes,
starting to win her over.
Fat, geeky guys often get the beautiful, hot girl. It happens all the time.
Oh, well, that makes us feel better.
Although I got to say, look, in my real life, I'm married a woman who's just as beautiful as Vera.
Oh, well, that's good.
So you have to change, but there's still hope for all you geeky guys out there. It helps if you're well endowed, but otherwise, those things are good.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's hope for you guys. I know you guys haven't had sex yet, but when you do, there's hope.
I hope so. I just turned 30. You have a question, John?
Let's see. Are you looking forward to the movie Hatchet? Since I just asked Adam Green question.
I'm looking forward to see it. They're having a screening next week at LA Screen Fest. See about going. When you know people. I mean, now I met Adam actually a couple of weeks ago. He's a very nice guy, and I know Kane, of course. Mm-hmm. I met him at various conventions, and I met John Beekler a couple times. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on?
Good things about it.
What are your thoughts on modern day horror movies?
Well, there's sort of a split between, there's some really good ones as always, and some really bad ones. The eighth, or other than the first Ring, I don't think is I'm not loving. I really like the first Ring. Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing a lot more zombie movies, which for the most part have been pretty good. The Dawn of the Dead remake was really good. 28 Days Later was, for the first 2/3, was good.
I actually I agree with you on that one. I think the end when they go to the military base. It kind of lost me. Yeah.
But the premise was great, mm-hmm. and Land of the Dead was okay. I'm looking forward to doing the remake of Day of the Dead, which just finished filming, and Steve Miner, who directed Part 3, is directing that, and Jeff Reddick, who's a friend of mine who wrote Final Destination, wrote that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then there's all these, the PG-13 thing. that's not working too well.
Right.
But it's all now. This whole thing about let's remake every old, every horror movie from the '70s. I mean, I understand why they do it. I mean, because they make money, but I don't think they've made good movies out of them.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard anything about? Oh God.
I mean, it's just sort of pointless.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard anything about the new Friday the 13th? Because they're not sure if it's a remake or if it's just a retelling of the original.
Yeah, that's all I've heard. It's a reimagining.
Right. I guess remake's a bad word. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's a remake. I mean, I don't think they can do it where the guys go, because I think Jason's going to be in it, and then Jason's not really in the first one. So I think they're going to go back and I don't know whether they're going to reimagine how he gets the hockey mask, but that no one's talking to me about this. So no one has my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at one point they did want to do another, part 11. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I heard they were going to do part 11, and then they were going to do Freddy vs. Jason 2. But now they're doing they're going to do the reimagining first. And I mean, but maybe you need to do that to take out, take away from the Uber Jason, who's, I think they sort of lost it with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, after part.
When he comes back, like part 6.
Yeah, I mean, and especially Jason Goes to Hell, which is the sort of. I mean,
my favorite scene in the movie is when he eats the heart.
The first 10 minutes are maybe the best 10 minutes of any Friday the 13th.
Oh, when you blow him up, yeah.
Yeah, they blow. I was like, oh, that's great, but then it's just bad. And Jason X, I thought he had some great ideas in the movie, but he just. But this Jason, who you just can't, who's just invulnerable, it's just sort of boring.
Yeah. So do you think Jason's I guess you think Jason's better when he's more like he was mortal. He was just a deranged guy instead of the undead zombie.
I think that's scarier.
Yeah.
I mean, when you just shoot them and they don't slow down, then I don't know, it just takes away any kind of tension.
Yeah, definitely. I get a question, John?
All fans remember you as the character who gave Jason the mask. Does it make you proud knowing that? It's really nice that I have something like that. I didn't really have much of an acting career, and so that I have something that here we are. We're going on 25 years, and people still talk about it, and still people say, you gave Jason the mask, and I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, it's nice to have a little part in film history,
You think if Shelley was wearing a scuba mask in that scene, the character wouldn't have taken off as big as it did, the Jason character?
No, I think people would have laughed. I mean, I that was never an option. Scuba mask. That would have been stupid.
Do you know who came up with the idea for the hockey mask? Because in the script it just says Shelley's white mask.
Yeah, I everyone sort of takes credit for it over the years. I've heard Steve Miner take credit, and I've heard Marty take credit, and I wasn't in those conversations. It's interesting because at the beginning of the movie, Shelley has another mask, that clear mask that he wears. So I don't know if when they started, they were thinking that was going to be the mask, and then they just went, well, that just doesn't work, and then they went, okay, we'll do the hockey mask. But I mean, it's some of the stuff just doesn't make sense, because you go, so Shelley brought 2 up to Crystal Lake that weekend, along with the spear gun and the wetsuit, and in that little box of his, he sold one of the masks. It's kind of funny how that. But you don't look for a lot of logic in these movies.
Right. I think we're overthinking everything. Did you get to keep any props from the movie?
I did. I got the fake axe,
cool.
Which when Shelley pops out of the cabinet in the middle of the movie. And I asked the the special effects guy if I could have that, and he gave that to me. So that's it's at my home in my office and on a little pedestal. One thing I got.
Was there any reason, given to you why they don't show Shelley's death on screen?
Well, I think that, reading the script, it's you're supposed to, because he does the fake death earlier, and then later I guess you're supposed to, the idea was that you would go, is this another fake death? Is he joking again? Mm-hmm. So if you showed it, you would know he wasn't. I think that was what they were thinking, although obviously at that point, since we've already seen Jason kill Vera, and there's no one, there's not really any tension there, like Shelley's playing another joke. Mm-hmm. So they could have shown it. But it was just never. It was always written in that way. They never. We're never going to show the scene in the barn.
Yeah. They could have wrote it that Shelley was just faking that too, just so he could get away from Jason. Maybe you could pop up in some of the sequels.
The one thing about Part 3, if you analyze it at all, and is that it's not a movie where people go, oh, there's a killer, I'm going to run, I'm going to do something stupid. Nobody knows until Chris at the end. Mm-hmm. Everyone dies without knowing there's a killer around.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at the kills, he just he comes out and Vera's out getting the wallet, and he shoots her, and she's dead. And she doesn't. That's the first you've seen her. Mm-hmm. Shelley had walked into the barn and got his throat cut. He hadn't any chance to. So he didn't walk. He didn't know there was some killer in the barn. There was nothing. There was no reason for him to be scared of going in the barn. Same with everyone else. They walk two places, but nobody knows that anyone else has died until Chris, at the end, sees the bloody bathrobe.
Right.
But until then, nobody's doing that. And now I completely forgot what the question was.
I do too. I don't think it was anything important. This is pretty much, Shelley could have just faked his death there, and maybe he could pop up in one of the new sequels.
Oh, well, that was why he couldn't fake his death. He didn't know there was any reason to fake his death.
Right.
He didn't know Jason was there.
Oh, okay. One of our fans, Norrin Rad, he wants to know, do you wish Paramount would release a 3D version of the film on DVD?
I don't think the technology is there to release it on, 3D in home video. I mean, I've never seen. I know there's parts of Freddy's Dead that's in 3D, but they just don't. They don't. I
think that's Freddy Vision.
Yeah, it just doesn't work yet, and so I don't think there's any chance of it happening. Although I would encourage everyone who. If you have not seen the movie in 3D and there's a theater near you playing it, I would really encourage you to go see it, because the movie on DVD is not very good. A lot of it, because a lot of the shots just don't make any sense because there's all these 3D shots.
Right. Just stuff sticking into the camera for no reason.
Right, but when you see it in 3D, it's a lot of fun. I mean, and last time I saw it was. 4 years ago, they had a screening in L.A., and that was really the only screening they've had since the movie came out in L.A. in 3D. And seeing it again with an audience and watching the 3D, it reminded me it's a lot of fun. And I know this we're taping this tomorrow's Friday 13th, and if people are listening, there are screenings tomorrow in San Francisco, and in Austin, and in Dallas, and a couple other places, and so if you can go check it out, if you haven't seen it in 3D, it's well worth it. It goes from not one of the best to I think really the best movie if you see it in the theater in 3D. It's a lot of fun.
Do you think there's a lot of difference watching a movie at home and watching it in a theater with people?
Yeah.
Not just 3D, just any
movie.
Especially
horror movies, but a 3D movie is just to that's where it's even a bigger thrilled because it's because everyone is yelling and affected, and when the spear comes out of the eyeball and the eyeball pops out, it's just it's a great effect. I remember when the movie came out, and I was done for the movie then, so I didn't see that in filming that, and I wasn't really even didn't even know it was going to happen, and then you see it and in the theater, and the whole theater just screamed. It was just a great effect, and it's still a great effect.
Oh yeah,
the eyeball popping, but all the stuff that in the beginning there's a rat and a snake, and it's so lame on DVD, but in the theater it works, and it makes the movie just so much fun.
Mm-hmm. You have another question, John?
Scott Goldberg, he has a question. He's a film director. Any plans to return to film?
Do I have plans to return to film?
Mm-hmm.
I have no plans to return to film. I'm, it's hard when you're a lawyer. It's hard to do something else. I mean, if something came up and it worked in my schedule, I think about it. But to be a professional actor is really to spend all your time trying to get work. You have to really be focused on getting work. You can't really do it and do something else. So,
you think you'd be up for like a cameo in like one of the Friday 13th movies that New Line produces?
Sure. I'd love that, but I'm not holding my breath.
Any plans to go back into juggling?
If there was money to be made on the professional juggling circuit, I'd be right there.
What made you decide to pursue law and get away from acting?
It's hard to make a living as an actor. It's very hard, and I saw a lot of actors much better than me, much more talented, struggling, and you go to auditions and you see guys who, have been around longer than you, and they're on the same audition, and they're just trying to get that, that one-day role, and I just said that's not the future I want. So, I went to law school. I wasn't sure what was going to happen at law school, but I really liked law school. I really had a great time at law school, and I really like being a lawyer. I have a good time, and I have great clients, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, we really appreciate you coming on today. Anything you'd want to tell all the Shelley fans out there before we let you go?
Well, I'm so humbled and sort of grateful that people like the role and people still like the movies. And I went to Monster Mania last month in Cherry Hill, and thousands of people there, and there's still a lot of people come up and they say they love the movie, and it's really nice. And I got to say, if you ever see any of us for people, don't be shy about going up and talking to them. They all love talking about it, and nobody's gonna everyone loves being in the movies, and we all were really humbled. I mean, I went to that Cherry Hill. They had like I think 16 or 17 of the Friday 13th cast members. All the Jasons were there, and all the girls, and we're all amazed at the amount of love that the series gets. And you meet people who've seen the movies over and over, and it's nice. I mean, it's a little twisted and disturbed that people like these movies over and over again, but we like the attention. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's been great.
Well, thanks, man. Really appreciate.
Hi, this is Kane Hodder, Victor Crowley, Jason from Friday the 13th. You're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.